שגריר ארצות הברית בישראל לשעבר דיוויד פרידמן, שכיהן תחת דונלד טראמפ וליווה בין השאר את החתימה על הסכמי אברהם, טען לאחרונה שהלחץ האמריקני על ישראל מרחיק את סיום המלחמה ופוגע במאמצים להפסיק את הלחימה. ליגאל רביד, שליחנו בארצות הברית, אתה שוחחת עם האיש תומך נלהב של ישראל וחבר קרוב של מי שאולי עוד מעט יהיה הנשיא הבא של ארצות הברית.
כן, מירי, אולי האיש הכי קרוב, בוודאי היהודי הכי קרוב לדונלד טראמפ, בהתחלה כפרקליטו.
חוץ מאיוונקה, כמובן.
אחר כך כשגריר ארצות הברית בישראל. סליחה?
חוץ מאיוונקה, יעל, ביתו.
כן, אבל הוא כיום, אגב, איוונקה וגם ג'ארד, וודאי מלניה, הם לא במעגל הקרוב בכברת שלו. דיוויד פרידמן תמיד היה ותמיד יהיה שם. הוא היה פרקליט שלו, הוא ידיד אישי שלו, והסיפור הוא כזה. הוא היה אחד השגרירים היעילים, המוצלחים ביותר. הוא הצליח להעביר את השגרירות לירושלים, הוא שכנע את טראמפ, את ההכרה ברמת הגולן, וכמובן בהתנחלויות, והשבוע אנחנו מציינים, מירי, 4 שנים להסכמי אברהם. אחרי כל השנים שבהם אנחנו שומעים על ה-Two-State Solution, דיוויד פרידמן אומר, גמרנו, זה לא יעבוד. הוא מוציא ספר חדש שנקרא One Jewish State, והוא אומר, שימי לב, משהו שיגרום להרבה רעש. הוא מציע לבטל את הרשות הפלסטינית, לבטל את הסכמי אוסלו, ולספח את כל שטחי יהודה ושומרון. הוא גם מאמין שאם טראמפ ייבחר, הוא יעזור לשכנע אותו, כפי שהוא עשה את זה קודם לכן. יש לו גם תשובות איך זה יעבוד. פגשתי אותו לשיחה בניו יורק. הנה הכתבה שהכנתי יחד עם מאי לורנס.
מעניין מאוד.
השגריר דיוויד פרידמן, שלום.
שלום לך.
מה שלומך?
בסדר גמור. תודה רבה.
So thanks for talking to I-24 News.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure meeting you. During your years, in the President Trump's years, we gave up the implementation, החלת הריבונות, מפרציות, הסכמי אברהם המפרציות, but there's no peace.
We opened up the embassy in Jerusalem. We recognized sovereignty over the Golan Heights. We changed the State Department policy that Jews could live anywhere they want in Judea and And everybody said, as a result of this, you're going to have endless conflicts and endless wars. And the reality is that that's not what happened. What happened was Israel was able to normalize relationships with 5 different Muslim countries. They say, okay, the Palestinians weren't there. The Palestinians weren't there because they felt left out. And no one said that didn't need to be part of a discussion. At some point, a resolution.
And the war caused by the attack on Israel, which would have never happened if I was president.
If President Trump was president,
Yes.
October 7th would never happen? You believe so?
I believe it.
He keeps saying that all the time.
I believe it wouldn't have happened because why did it happen? It happened because Iran had, in just 2 years, doubled its GDP, had $200+ billion to spend. They spent it on the Houthis, they spent it on Hamas, they spent it on Hezbollah. They created a far more dangerous...
Yeah, but the money got from Qatar in suitcases every Friday.
Yeah, it wasn't the same money. It wasn't the same level.
Money enough for those for pickups and some RPGs. Ambassador, with all the respect.
They've always had RPGs. They've always had rockets.
That's what they used on October 7th. They didn't use artillery, Air Force.
Yo!
It was a relatively unsophisticated operation, right?
Really? Exactly.
And
sophisticated and not sophisticated at the same time.
The unsophisticated part of it was that they were able to take trucks and just drive across the border. Okay? That's on Israel.
She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one.
If President Trump is not being reelected, Israel will really cease to exist in a year or 2. Do you really believe so, Ambassador?
No. What he's referring to is, he's heard this many times, and I've heard it many times. Most of the Israeli security experts say the most important strategic asset of the state of Israel is its relationship with the United States. And I think what the president is saying is under Kamala Harris, that strategic asset is going to be significantly deteriorated.
And the entire world, I tell you this, we want our hostages back, and they better be back before I assume office. Well, you will be paying a very big price.
We're sending ships into Israel. We're saying we're going to defend you if Iran attacks. But at the same time, Israel's not allowed to act offensively against Iran. It's like, You know, you could play soccer with a goalie, but if you don't have a team, you're not going to win the game.
الاستيطان شرعي وهذا ما قاله أكثر من مسؤول أمريكي أولهم سفيرهم في تل أبيب هنا ديفيد فريدمان قال هنا هم يبنون في أرضهم ابن الكلب يبنون في أرضهم وهو مستوطن وعائلته مستوطنة وسفير أمريكا في تل أبيب ماذا ننتظر منه؟
How much time I spend worrying about how Abu Mazen feels about me? I mean, I'm saying is that take whatever money you are giving to the Palestinians, don't give it to the Palestinian Authority, don't give it to Hamas, don't give it to terrorists. Create a trust run by people, not people who are, you know, who have something to gain from this. A professional trust. Probably Israel will be the best people to run it. A trust that can be used to build roads, highways, infrastructure, hospitals, schools, to take Judea and Samaria and raise the standard of living of the Palestinians and the Jews who live there up to the level of Israel.
One Jewish state. That's your book, that's your movement. How do you want this to happen?
Well, first let's talk about the movement, what it is. What we're talking about is Ribonut, sovereignty by the state of Israel over all of Judea Shomron, all of it, you know, Area A, Area B, Area C, get rid of that, and sovereignty over all of it. So how do we want it?
Dismissing the Oslo Accords, all the agreements.
Yes.
And basically, the world may call it annexation.
The world will call it annexation. I think it's the wrong word. I think annexation is only when you take territory where the only right you have to it is through conquest. Who's going to run Judea Shomron? Lebanon? I don't think so. Syria? I don't think so. Jordan? No. Egypt? They're all failed states. Who's going to run it? I mean, if you just hand it over to the Palestinians, it'll likely be taken over by Hamas because they're much more popular right now in Judea and Samaria. But even if it's taken over by the Palestinian Authority, they've shown no capacity whatsoever to govern.
Will you come up to him on January 22nd, 21st, 22nd, and say, Mr. President, this is what we need to do? Are you going to do that?
Well, this is what I'm going to tell him. I mean, if he asks, I assume he'll ask me. If he gives me a job, I'm sure he'll be interested in my opinion. I'll tell him, look, this is what I recommend. If Israel is willing to go forward with it, it's a bigger lift for Israel than for America. If the Israelis want to do it, and I hope they do, I hope they come to that view. If the Israelis want to do it, I do believe he would support it, yes.
Will you be there for him again?
If he wants me to.
Does he want you?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to him. I mean, he doesn't have those discussions.
פרידמן, אני בעברית שואל אותך עכשיו. אתה רוצה לחזור להיות השגריר?
אני עונה אותו דבר. There's no greater honor, no greater privilege than serving America, especially as it relates to Israel.
אז מה, לשנה הבאה בירושלים? השגריר פרידמן.
שנה הזאת בירושלים.
שנה הזאת לא. שנה הבאה אחרי ה-inauguration, לא?
הכל בידי שמיים.
תודה רבה לך. היה מאוד מעניין לדבר איתך.
גם לי. תודה רבה.